Hello, my name is Mikhail Vartanian. I'm the Managing Director at Spherical. Spherical is a software company based in Bonn, Germany. My team and I have been involved in IT and software arrangements for national greenhouse gas inventories for over 5 years. We are very happy to present our product, Atmo, to UNFCCC parties, and we look forward to help parties embark on the road to the enhanced transparency framework with sound technical and data management arrangements. In the SB50 meeting that happened in the end of June, just across the road from our office, many developing countries have requested to get access to the UNFCCC CRF reporter software in order to obtain initial experience of dealing with CRF tables and see if these tables are indeed a good starting point for ETF implementation talks. The UNFCCC CRF reporter software is a web-based software, and provisioning of access to it may take some time. In order to help the parties, Spherical is making the trial version of Atmo, a fully CRF-compatible GAG inventory software, available for free download. With Atmo, you can start familiarizing with the common reporting format and tables right now. Let me quickly show you some of the features of our software. If you are interested to know more, a link to a longer training video is available below in details. Our software covers the user's journey from data entry in the initial data entry sheets and all the way to data analysis, quality assurance and reporting to UNFCCC. You start your work with a screen that looks like this. On the left-hand side, you see the IPCC category tree. The categories are generally according to the 2006 IPCC guidelines, but as parties requested, agriculture and LULUCF are separate sectors in this tree. This will likely create an interesting discussion later on in the negotiations. But for now, this is how Annex 1 parties report. On the right-hand side, you see the breadcrumb navigation bar, the data entry and calculation sheet, and the CRF reporting tables and charts at the bottom. For this demonstration, we will be using the British inventory file submitted to UNFCCC in 2017 and obtained by Spherical using a Freedom of Information request. This inventory file is also available to users as a sample to use when learning Atmo. There are 95 CRF tables in total. In order to make the overview manageable, we have made the list of tables sensitive to the context of your data entry. When you navigate data entry sheets, the software is showing you which tables and which particular cells you are affecting. Let us start at the top of the tree, where calculations of major summary values are made. Now, I am looking at CH4 methane emissions from the energy sector. In the bottom bar, you can see a list of all CRF tables that this value affects. It is not a surprise that it affects Table 1, the sectoral background table for energy. The value in the currently selected data entry cell appears in this table directly. Such cells are highlighted in red. We call it the red mapping. But the list of affected tables is longer because there are tables affected indirectly. For example, the major overview tool in CRF, the summary report for CO2 equivalent emissions, or the table called Summary 2, is affected by the same value we selected. The difference is that it is affected indirectly through various calculations and aggregations. Indirectly affected cells get a pink mapping. Here, again unsurprisingly, you can see that CH4 emissions from the energy sector expressed in kilotons of CH4 affects the CH4 emissions from the energy sector expressed in kilotons of CO2 equivalent. It also affects the national total emissions of CH4 in kilotons of CO2 equivalent and the respective totals for all greenhouse gases. Let us now go deeper into the IPCC category tree and see what actual data entry looks like. My favorite demo category is one of methane emissions from dairy cattle. Let's navigate to it in the category tree. We will open sector 3, agriculture, livestock, enteric fermentation. Here we have 3 reporting options. We will select option A and go to dairy cattle. This is a lower level data entry sheet. It has many white cells. As you have heard during the presentations at SBs, white cells are there to enter data. Let's enter some data. We enter the number of our cows, the average gross energy intake, and other parameters used in the calculation of emissions. We can see that we are not affecting many reporting tables. The calculation parameters in one sector appear on the background table for this sector, but they are not summarized or used anywhere else. This is not so for the emissions field. You can see that emissions affect many tables, as any emissions from across the inventory are summarized and aggregated to the very top and appear on sectoral and cross-sectoral summary tables. By the way, if while browsing the reporting tables you became curious where a certain data point is coming from in data entry and you wish to see the time series for it, simply double-click the cell and Atmo will show you where the data came from. If you have prepared your data in Microsoft Excel or other spreadsheet software, these data may be pasted into Atmo directly. The software will show you where pasting of data succeeded and where it failed with yellow and red background respectively. You can also copy data from the software and paste it into Excel. For every cell, you can specify a number of different comments. Note that you cannot specify multiple comments in Excel, and so you cannot, for example, import comments from Excel into CRF Reporter. From Atmo, you can. The comments are accessible via the plus sign in the top right corner of the cell or on the Special Comments tab at the bottom pane. In some cases, like when your cell contains a notation key like NE, not estimated, or IE, included elsewhere, a comment called notation key explanation is required. This brings us nicely to the topic of quality assurance. Atmo provides the same quality checks as CRF Reporter and may be extended with other quality checks easily. Let us look at the simplest one, the completeness check. Completeness check verifies that there are no empty mandatory cells in the inventory and that the appropriate comments are provided wherever they are mandatory. Checks are available through the Modes menu. Now we have enabled the completeness check mode. A new traffic light navigation system appeared in the user interface. Let us use this navigation system to find the completeness problem in our inventory. The traffic light system for completeness check works like this. Green means complete, red means empty, amber means something in between. Some data is available, but it is not complete. On the category tree, you can see that we have amber marks on all sectors. The inventory we are working on is one that was officially submitted final version, but in fact, completeness issues are very common in all countries' inventory submissions. They are usually explained in the narrative part of the National Inventory Report. Let us go to agriculture and visit the cattle section again. We can see that dairy cattle is complete and non-dairy cattle is not. We will open non-dairy cattle this time. You can now see completeness check marks everywhere, on tree nodes, on breadcrumbs navigation, inside the data entry sheets on lines, columns, and cells. Using these marks, you can easily locate all data quality issues. Here, we can see that there is a problem in the second line. If we point our mouse to the problematic cell, the system will show us why it thinks that there is a problem here. Indeed, notation key NE, not estimated, requires a special type of comment called notation key explanation, which has not been provided. Let us provide it now. We will click the cell and select Comments tab in the bottom pane. Here you can see all kinds of comments that the user can provide on the cell. Our task to provide a comment called N-key, notation key, explanation. Notation key NE is normally used when the emissions are too insignificant or there is another plausible explanation for why this information is not necessary. In many cases, the explanation is a reference to the National Inventory Report. Let us add an explanation like this. Explained in the National Inventory Report section 2.3.4. This is not a real section in the British National Inventory Report, it's just an example. We save the comment and see that the completeness check is now satisfied with the content of the cell. There is no red mark on the cell anymore. Now, we have the same problem in the entire time series. This is the time to use another great feature of Atmo called notation key propagation. Let us clear the unexplained notation keys on the right of the cell we just corrected. Now we can see that a propagation mark appeared at the bottom left corner of the cell. We click it and the entire time series is complete now. We can see the green completeness mark on the line and the nice comment box is available on every cell of the time series. Another important aspect of the inventory quality checks is consistency of the time series. The guidelines demand explanation should emissions or other parameters show unusual spikes. Let us now switch to the consistency check mode. You can see again that hardly any sector has full consistency of the all time series. This is normal, as fluctuations in all sectors happen due to natural reasons. Let us now use the quality check navigation system to explore the consistency in the industry sector this time. We see that there are completeness issues in mineral industry and in particular in cement production. Emissions time series has a consistency issue check mark. In order to visualize the time series, let us now use the time series chart feature. We can see that there are indeed significant changes happening in these emissions year to year. Let us look at one of these years, 2009. I will click on the dot on the chart and the system will show me the appropriate data entry record. If we point the mouse to the record, the consistency check will tell us that the value has changed by more than 10%. This was already obvious to us from looking at the chart in this case, but it may not be as obvious in other cases. I have teased you with charts already twice during this presentation. Let us now look at these charts in a little more detail. Charts are available for all numeric time series in the inventory. Just click anywhere on the time series and select Graphs in the lower pane. As we have learned, you can navigate the time series chart by moving across cells or by clicking on dots. The charts also provide a visual clue about the time series temporal consistency. Standard deviation bands are displayed in the background so you can clearly see outliers, if any. If you are using Atmo on an internet-connected computer, you can compare the time series in your inventory to the same time series in inventories of other countries. For example, here we can see that out of the UK, France and Germany, Germany is producing by far the highest amount of glass, which curiously had not always meant that Germany had produced the highest emissions from the glass industry. You can see the progression of emissions and its composition by greenhouse gas. In some industries like glass, you will only see a couple of gases in the cocktail. At the top level of the inventory, all of the culprits will show up. You can also see the relative composition. Any chart may be saved in high-definition bitmap graphics format for use in documents or in a vector format for further publishing or use on the web. Thank you for watching this video. Please get in touch with us using the contacts provided below to discuss further training and the ways Spherical can help you prepare for reporting under the ETF. In addition to this video, for inventory experts, we offer a 5-minute presentation overview without software demonstration for decision makers, and a longer training video covering installation, configuration, initiation of the new inventory, and a detailed walkthrough of all the features of the trial version. All links are available below. And please do not hesitate to contact us and discuss the use of Atmo, individual or group training, and any possible cooperation. Goodbye for now.